Welcome back to the show. This is Power Exchange, and this is the final half of the show. We do come to you every weekday, Monday to Friday, from 7:30 to 10 in the morning. This morning, we've brought three independent and investigative journalists in studio. They are from a project. They are part of a fellowship called New Narratives Liberia, and New Narratives Liberia does partner with Thomson Reuters Foundation. They've been able to train several journalists in the country and to be fully independent and to do independent reporting. Three of them are sitting with us this morning, myself included, so we are four. We will talk to you about the work we do and the risks sometimes we take to do what we do. Let's introduce them now. May Azango, prominent Liberian journalist, is the head of this project. We also do have Titi Jibo, very tough talking, and Joaquin Sandodo of the Video Observer newspaper. Welcome to all of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome to myself. Well, let's start with you, May, Auntie May, like they call you. Explain to us this project.
Thank you, Anthony Stevens. It's a pleasure. Well, this project is called a New Narrative Project, and funded by Thomson Reuters and the German Development Corporation, along with the Australian government. We have been to report on stories that are not really reported on, like the forestry story, which is supported by the Australian government, and the German corporation is supporting a mining story. Yes, and Thomson Reuters were also supporting the oil, with the story of oil. Not many persons knew about oil drilling and how people get to oil and all of that. A lot of Liberians didn't know about it. But then when we started to report on these stories, it started to serve as an eye-opener to many persons. Can you imagine? I was talking with a lady, and we were talking about oil, and she asked, I said, well, it was palm oil or alcohol oil. So that shows to you the level of knowledge the people had on crude oil or finding oil in the ocean and all of that. So at least it served as an eye-opener. And now we are doing a project on forestry, which Joaquin Sandolo and James Gayu, T.C. Pole, and Titi Wynn. Recently, they've been doing some forestry story. They went to Hui and Doru, and they talk about the forestry law and how the community benefits and who are the beneficiary, and as to whether they are getting what they are supposed to get. And come to think about it, when you listen to these reports, you will somehow wonder, because you think, as you see it on the paper, it's happening, but when you go there on the ground, in reality, nothing is happening. We have so many lapses. So these are things that we dwell on. Thank you very much. I have made myself very clear.
So how do you do your investigation?
Okay, like for example, the reporters are gathering with me. If they are going on a story, like for example, a forestry story, okay, you want to find out the logging companies that are in the country, whether they are paying their due diligence to government, whether the community they are working in are benefiting. So they go on the ground, and sometimes they chase them out. It is very dangerous, and you yourself told me you know about it because they chased you out before.
Yeah, you got chased.
Of course. So these
yes.
are the challenges, because not many persons will want you to go and look into the closet and take out the skeleton. You understand? So they will go and interview to even get some of these people to speak. It's so difficult, because some of them who are supposed to be custodian of the people property, they are working for the very government or the very company to exploit the people. So obviously they won't want to talk. So they will go to the various people and do investigation and come back to the requisite authority in Monrovia, like the Lands and Mine, like Forestry Development Authority, and talk to them and see what's happening, what's unfolding, why are they not monitoring what's going on. You will be surprised to find out that government agencies responsible are not monitoring, and you know it.
Now, before bringing the other two fellows, I want to know, What are the standards you set for recruitment?
Oh, the standard is that we try to get all sides.
I mean, recruitment of members into the fellowship.
Oh, the recruitment when people, uh, there will be a fellowship or they will be calling for application. And if you fill in the application and you are accepted, obviously, they
Okay.
will ask you for some of your best stories. And if it is satisfactory, they will take you. If not, they don't take
And the
you.
journalist must be fully independent. It has to be.
Oh yes, you have to be very much independent, credible. Because remember now, when once you lie and say some things, people wouldn't seem to trust you. Your audience will lose confidence in you, and that is what we try to avoid. That is why when the journalists are doing story, they try to be very much objective as possible by getting all sides, not even three sides again, but all sides.
Right. Okay, let's bring in Titi Jibo. She's been with this project for a very long time and is one of the faces of the project. Tell us about your experience working with new narratives, Liberia.
Well, Tony, thank you again for having us on this program this morning. And talking about experience, since I've been with the project, it has been huge. I've learned a lot working with Prue Clark and the rest of the team from New Narratives. I was excited because I joined the program in 2011, and since I became a part, journalism for me became even more better, and it has taught me to be a very good journalist because you don't do stories for New Narratives, you don't do half-baked stories for New Narratives. You must get it right. There are so many people, so many of our colleagues who were on the project but had to, get off the project because there is a certain standard you must meet. And if you can't meet that standard, you will have to leave. So I'm proud of the project, and I think I've learned a lot on this project. We've done many stories like May has talked about, especially when we're doing the stories on the oil and gas sector. Usually in Liberia, journalists will always report on a sector like the oil sector. We only come out to report on what NOCAL says to you. From the press release that comes out of NOCAL is what the journalists will report. But when New Narratives got into the oil sector and started teaching journalists how to report on the oil sector, it became a whole new thing. You saw that we reported on NOCAL's corporate social responsibility projects she claimed to have carried out. And we found out that most of those corporate social responsibility projects the National Oil Company talked about that they had on their website, when we started to go into all of them, they became nothing. They posted them on the website, but when we did investigation on these stories, most of them did not even exist. So that is how good this project has been. We've left the oil and gas sector, gone to the forestry sector where we are reporting on stories. We did mining stories. May and I did China Union, where we found out a lot of things also about China Union that is currently not operating. And you know how those people who work for China Union now, who used to work for China Union, are still complaining about their allowances. We found out at China Union that most of what's in the agreement that should be happening for the residents of gold mines is not even happening. So these are the things we try to dig out. Now we're dealing with forestry, with the forestry sector. James and I went to Bi and Doro. We talked to the people of Bi and Doro. That's a very big story. Jimmy did.
We endure in Nima County.
Yeah, in Nima County. That is a very far area. That was my first time to ride motorbike for like almost 12 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, we were riding back. The roads are so bad. But when you get to that place, we realize that there is not a single high school in that place. And the company promised, and the worst thing about it is that the company there is headed by a lawmaker who, when he turned lawmaker, Rick Stowe, when he turned lawmaker, he handed that over to his wife to run. But most of what's in the agreement has not been implemented. it's sad because this is a lawmaker who was heading this company. His wife has the company right now. That part of Liberia is between Rivers's and Nimba County, but we can say it's in Nimba County. And there is a Nimba lawmaker who sits over that company, or his wife. The two of them are one. But then these people have all of these
Isn't that a
problems.
conflict of interest?
You read the Global Witness report recently that talked about lawmakers holding the lines. They are lawmakers, but they are also, they have companies, and they're the ones who are making lives even difficult for the people who they should be making life better for. Well, we did that story, and one good thing that happened was one of those girls, because even the school, the children there in the school where the company, the LTTC, has its base, there is one school there, and the school is in a church building, and the students sit, the ground is dusty. There's a small building where the guy there is one teacher in the whole school. One single teacher. All of the people who were there dropped because the Ministry of Education is not able to pay them according to them. So they're paying one teacher who teaches this school from ABC to 6th grade. That's how pitiful it is. And there is this girl who, thanks to the Liman Bowie Foundation now, she's going to go to school free throughout college, which is good. That's one good thing about the story that James did, because her father is blind. Grandmother takes care of all of the children, and with all of her problems, she's able to help her teacher, the only teacher, because she's the only girl in the 6th grade class, and she's helping him in the morning to take care of the students, the pre-primary students. So that is one good thing. Well, we were just in the southeast, about the Sapo National Park, where there has been 2 failed attempts now by government to clear illegal occupants from the park. And these people have been dwelling in the park from the reports, the investigation we've done for about 12 years now, since the war. People moving to the park, and now there is illegal mining going on in the park. People are hunting. They shouldn't be hunting in the park. People are farming in the park. And according to the FDA bus, there are over 1,000 people in the park. Recently there was one ranger who died when they tried to clear these people off the park. So there was this huge meeting in Sino County, and during that time we were in Sino also to cover that, and we did a story talking to the people because they brought people from 20 different communities.
For new narratives, it is very hard to do its work when it comes to exercising that level of professionalism, because they have to see everything professional in your work before it can be published. In so doing, it gives me this philosophical, or sense that says, better is the end of a thing than the beginning. When you are beginning it, it is very, very difficult. But when, you get the result of it, you laugh. And that's what you are referring to, that I did, a story in recent days, and I got to, receive some praises and what have you. So it's more like in this work, it took a very long time to do, and I want to start it with the representative of District 8 of Nimba County, Representative Larry Yonkwe, who gave me some information with respect to the handling of the county development, not county development fund, but the social development fund. As you may know, Iron Ore Mining has been in Liberia for a long time, and Nimba County being one county that has produced the highest quantity in the Republic of Liberia. We got to know that this is the very first time that the government of Liberia has allotted social development fund in the tune of 1.5 million going to the county every year. And since the government came to reach this agreement with ArcelorMittal, they have been, paying this money without delinquency. Okay, except that last year, 2016, the payment made to the government of Liberia was somewhere around 750,000, which of course was not the exact amount to be paid. And the representative said that it was something that was, done, unilaterally by the president with the company, which of course they still stand by to ask the company to pay the remaining one. And in the use of this money, it is interesting to note that much is coming in, going to the county and to the government of Liberia, but the ordinary people are yet to know how much in fact has come into the county. So it's more like the representative was very vocal to know that some of the money have been used, have been misdirected to purchase vehicle for government officials.
For government officials?
Or who's supposed to be given vehicle by the General Services Agency. So he said this.
He reviewed that to you on
Oh,
record.
sure. I have the record. And you could note also from the interview with the representative that 300,000 is set for some affected communities, that are supposed to benefit. But since this allotment was made in a law or in their guideline, so as to be able to give this money to the affected communities, you have not seen anything given, but money used to purchase vehicle for officials. And on the other side, lawmakers who are going to have, county sitting and what have you, they are given scratch card, they are given this, and other people who are coming from other places in the country, they are also, paid, let's say they are also fed and what have you, from the same money, which of course does not really supposed to be so according to the representative. So from other sources, like report by LITI and GAC, you get to realize that this money, since it started coming in the first term of President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, up to the second term, there have been, mismanagement a whole lot. We know that a lot of the money have been used, to facilitate bogus project that people do not know about, according to GAC. Okay, some 140,000 was used to according to the report, to renovate or to rent a building in Sacré-Cœur in Nimba County for the project management committee, and they used not less than 120,000 again to fence that building, which of course, if you look at the re-fence that was said to be on that building, which of course people could not even identify according to the GAC report, I mean, you could see nothing significant to impact the people. So
what have ordinary citizens in Nimba County said about this story?
Yeah, the ordinary citizen, like one of them that I talked to from the civil society group, he said, in fact, what the people are doing is that the county sitting they are talking about is more like something that the lawmakers and the county authority will invite the people to come, people who want to protect their job, like the commissioner, the clan chief, the paramount chief, and those people who want to protect their job. They will come and then just sit to concur with what the lawmakers and the county authorities, are saying. But really, people who are supposed to even be vocal to address some of those issues, they are not caught. Okay, even the media, in some instances, cannot be invited to it. So it's more like the people themselves are ignorant of what is unfolding. So it makes, because when this report was published last time, one other person called me and said, oh, you did a good job. We really enjoyed this report. We didn't know such a kind of a thing had been going on here, but why is the lawmaker coming in the last time to talk this thing here when we are going to election? So it's more like much of what we are doing, people are going to dwell on it to at least make reference. But seriously speaking, a lot of our people do not know what's unfolding when it comes to benefit from the proceeds of the natural resources that we have.
Okay, let's play one of the reports Titi told you about. Which one is this, Titi, that you mentioned earlier? Is it the one with at the Sapo National Park?
Yeah, this one has to do with the recent meeting that was held in Sino County. The government has given these people, after the meeting, they came to a conclusion that they'll give them 1 month to clear or to leave the park. But what is going to happen? We had to go out asking the people in the villages whether or not that option is what they want, whether or not they can leave the park, because they had this meeting. They've had, as I said previously, 2 failed attempts, and at that meeting, the senator of Sino County said that these people or
Which
the
one of
international Milton Tiaje, Senator Tiaje was very vocal. He was talking to partners, telling them that whatever negotiations they carry out with the government, they always leave the people out. And these people are very essential because they are the ones who dwell there. So if you don't get them involved, there is no way you can have a peaceful resolution to clearing people out of this park.
Okay. So let's listen to this report by Titi Jibo from the Sapo National Park.
With funding from German Development Cooperation, the funder has no say in its contents.
Many thanks to Titi for that excellent report. It took you some difficulties, didn't it? To do that report.
Yeah, first thing first, the roads. The roads are very, very bad to get into those towns. Many times we had to kind of get out of the car and walk or get on bike because the roads are bad. Obviously, you will have the people who are in those communities very anxious to speak with journalists because they feel they don't have an opportunity to talk about those issues concerning them. Although you didn't read the intro to this piece, but it's focused on the 30-day ultimatum that ended in August of this year. So we wait now to see whether or not that is going to happen, whether these people in the Sapo National Park, after going through the 2-day meeting with the government and partners, whether or not that is going to work this time around, whether these people are going to have the urge. You heard from the FDA boss, he says, we need peace in Liberia, and if this should happen, the community has to be a part of it, and the community too has her own grievances, and those grievances must also be met. Because these people we talked to over there have no alternative, although the FDA boss says that most of the people in the park are foreigners, but the community people we talked to also said that their children also go into the park to do farming, to also do mining, because that is the only way they know how to survive. So if you are getting those people out of the park, there must be an alternative. And until there can be an alternative, it's not about sitting at the table and talking and having this meeting where people will come and eat and drink and merry-make for 2 days and go right back. Because after all said and done, these people must live, and it's about their livelihood. So his partners are working. They have committed to making sure that it happens this time around. August has passed. We'll see what happens next, whether or not the cordial relationship between the community and the people and the government will now exist in order to have these people cleared off the park.
Okay, let's bring in May. I will talk about my report I've done a series of them, but I will talk about the latest one very shortly. But I want to bring in May. You yourself, you've been on the field, even though you're the coordinator for us, but you've been on the field yourself. You've had some experiences directly interacting with residents and interacting with companies and the way they've behaved. How does all that make you feel?
I feel sorry for the local communities, because they are directly affected. They are the ones that are feeling a pinch. Because when government go to sign these concession agreements, they don't take into consideration as to whether the company will live up to the promises they made, leaving the residents to suffer at the end, like the China Union when we did that story, the pollution. And Titi and I went there. What we saw, it will make anyone to feel bad. Because the water the people were drinking, you won't believe that somebody will drink such water and live. And the township said there's water running their children's stomach, but what can they do? Because they said the result of the activities on the mine, which is up the hill when it rains, it brings down all of the waste and empty right into the people water. And you know the people drink from the Vera creeks, nearby creeks, and all the creeks were polluted. but they said they had nobody to talk for them. And obviously the company, when we tried to contact them, they asked Titi and I to show them, no, the EPA that's supposed to be the one to monitor all these things as to whether the company meddle with their social, with their environmental impact assessment, as to whether they meddle with it, because before a company starts, it's supposed to have all that in place. And we call EPA and they asking Titi and I to show them the town, give them direction so they can send the people, the monitors to go and see. So the question I ask is that if China Union started operating since 6 years ago or more, so how did they get into full swing when you don't even know where the pollution is taking place? So it means you never did your job to monitor. If you are the monitoring agency and you're not monitoring, then you're asking us. You people have to be partners.
So sometimes these companies, these government agencies, institutions, they do seem to lack logistics.
He says in Monrovia, he told us, oh, you know, this is not what China Union told us. China Union. So they will send in Monrovia, and anything China Union tells them, they take it. Law and gospel, they don't go and check. Nothing. Just when they go, maybe China Union gave them the late package. That's all. They don't go to inspect. Period. If the company is supposed to start operation and EPA is supposed to be met, and you haven't monitored anything, because when we talk with Seta Bishop, she says she had not gotten one ESIA from China Union. One. Because it means they have violated all. She said they were in gross violation of all the ESIA because they didn't meet any assessment, environmental assessment. She said yes, they were polluting the people. They were polluting the water. She even described the water.
That is hurting the country. The lack of is a general question. Everybody can take it one at a time. The lack of proper assessment, the lack of proper evaluation, and counter checking by relevant government institutions on these concession companies. Is that hurting the country? To what extent? If it is.
To a larger extent, I would say, and that's why we do these kinds of stories. You know, usually in Liberia, we're based right here in Montserrado County, and most of the top-notch media institutions we have in the country do not have the money to send their reporters out there. That is why we are also grateful for New Narratives. So when we are opportuned and we are sent out there, we're sponsored to go out there and see what is going on. We expect the government of Liberia to make sure that they climb down on these people who should be doing the right thing for the people. Because like Mayor says, if you go out there, you like the other story we did from China Union, you asked the town chief, where is your lawmaker? Does your lawmaker come here? He says, we don't see them. We don't see them. We only know them when they want us to vote for them. Now you have come, then we know that our stories will be heard. These are the kinds of things that people go through. So we expect the government, when they hear these kinds of things, to come down hard on these concession companies, making sure that they do the right thing. Like for China Union, when you see, like she says, the water the people drink is polluted. But these are citizens of Liberia, and it's the government's responsibility to make sure that the lives of these people are better. You can have these concession companies, you know, operating in those areas and making money. The only excuse is that, you know what, the price of iron ore on the world market dropped, and then these concession companies now are not making money. What happened when they were making money? How is the community benefiting? Because we know the government gets, you know, a huge chunk of the money that is not, you know, used within the community. But then the companies have their corporate social responsibilities to the communities, and they have things that are in the agreement they should be doing for those communities.
Yeah, okay. With respect to that question, it is quite interesting. You know, the activities of, how you call it, companies around the country, has the country a whole lot. From the standpoint that even if we trace history, in 1982 or 2006, what happened in Norway here? Because of the stockpile of dead from iron ore mining, a lot of people died there that time. Okay, you will also know that most of the activities where people will go and then dig pits to maybe search for gold or diamond, and the holes are not covered. What happened? Somebody drives in and dies. I mean, life is lost right there. Okay. Now, if we look at the standpoint of maybe studying what we call contemporary social issue, we get to know that most of the people are, farmers who are living by agriculture. But if you go, you dig, places where they used to make their farm, or you pass roads and what have you to those places where they are no longer able to make farm to those places that they used to make farm, automatically, hunger is a portion at the end of the day. So
Okay.
it hurts the country a whole lot.
Okay, this is Power Exchange. Our guests this morning are three Liberian journalists, three independent and investigative Liberian journalists. They are all from the Non-Narratives Liberia. Non-Narratives Liberia is an organization that promotes and enhances professional journalism across Africa. In Liberia, there are top-notch journalists who are working with this project and who have made inroads with their activities as well. Let's listen to this report that I did. It's a follow-up report that I did in Babolu County. In Babolu County, myself, James Gayu, and DC Bode were in Babolu County. We had come to investigate a story but we post that illegal money activities were taking place and our children were being driven away from school because of money they were taken to mines and they were operating on those mines. We went to 2 mine sites, but we were chased from one of those areas, an area owned by one Ben Morris, who is said to be a representative as parent. Mr. Morris ordered that we leave his mine site. It's called the Point Gold Field in Babolu County. When we got chased, but we still did the story. So this follow-up story is on Grand Kema County. This story was investigated last month and we went to the Lofa Bridge community. We went to investigate reports that there was pollution taking place in that area, river pollution. So let's listen to it.
When we did a China Union story, Seta Bishop from the concession area said that they were, before China Union were going to recommence, she was going to make sure that they address all the environmental issues. But as we say, the government need more money, the revenue, all these things they want to collect. So do you think when the people bring money, they will go back and say, yeah, who your money, they will go and see whether the people have met up with the ESIA? That's the question. Government in need of money. So as Titi said in her China Union report, it is dot in red, the government need money, the budget is, they need money. They really need money. So when the concession come with it.
So it's only because of the money, and then
But what else?
about the well-being of the people.
But they don't care.
Is concerned about.
What we see, whether the people live or whether they die, the government don't care. Did you get out of it, dragging it out of it?
Yeah, what has to do with government needs money? Well, yes, every man needs money. But what do you want to do with this money? How do you want to use it? So for me, I attribute it to people's personal gain in terms of what comes to the country.
Seriously?
Because yes, indeed, yeah, let the money come.
They
But
buying car for people.
but you see that the money is not used to benefit people whom you are saying that you are representing, okay, or you are there for. So when we look at it from the standpoint of why people are not really doing their best or doing due diligence, I mean, the lack of integrity.
I know
in
a
our
lot of
country
time,
is
but a lot of
something-
people are interested in
Yeah,
the
okay,
conversation.
let's
Let's just take just this final person before we can call the quit. Money.
People serving in governments should see their service as see themselves as in a privileged position. Everyone will love to serve their people and do it better. So when you see yourself as a privileged person, you're only privileged to serve in a position and you have love for your country, I think you do it to better your country. But the way you see people governing in this country, it's kind of strange. Now we're going to elections. You see most of the people in government running now to be lawmakers because they've not served with the heart of making the lives of the people better. And the thing that going to the legislature is going to continuously put money in their pockets.
Okay.
But if you do your work diligently and serve to better the lives of your people, you don't have to run to the legislature to make money.
Okay, thanks for coming, Titi.